And we are back with the Screen Team. It's our special hour-long edition of the show. And the show is being brought to you by Fearless Social, Whitworth Gift Chest Jewelers, and Poplar Bluff Drywall. We got done reviewing our 700th movie of all time here for the Screen Team. We're moving on to 701, and we got a good one for you. This one is called Mr. Holmes. This is a crime, drama, mystery film all wrapped up in one, and it has to do with Sherlock Holmes, but it has to do with an older version of Sherlock Holmes. I believe in this movie, the present time in this film, he's in his 90s, correct?
That's about what it looked like.
Yeah. So we've got Mr. Holmes, Sherlock Holmes. He's retired. He's in his 90s, and there's this one case that's kind of bothering him.
His last case
He ever did. There's some unresolved business, or at least he thinks there's some unresolved. He feels like he did it wrong.
He failed. He says he failed, and it caused him to turn his back on sleuthing altogether, and he sort of retreated to his country.
It's pretty nice.
pretty beautiful, not just country, but it's like out by the ocean,
right.
Beach. And his bees. He has beehives.
And
there's a name for that, and I totally forgot what it's called.
I could have told you, too, if you didn't say anything, man.
Said that.
Yeah.
He escapes to his bees.
And he lives with his housekeeper and also his housekeeper's son, who's, I don't want to say he's a genius, but he's very knowledgeable for a kid that age.
He's very wise and kind of one of those old spirits in a young body.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that he's had to be the man of the house at a very young age.
Right. So this film was pretty interesting as far as the fact that you don't have just this one timeline and storyline that you're following. You're following almost three different storylines. You're following the present day, which I guess is in the 40s, I think, because they're talking about World War II and stuff like that. Then there's another timeline where you're actually watching Sherlock Holmes go through his last case, which I guess was in the 20s. 1920s or 30s, because I remember them saying something about World War I in that particular genre. And then there's also another timeline where you see Sherlock Holmes in Japan
right
as well.
After Hiroshima.
Right after the bombs fell, yeah. So,
which actually, they said in the beginning of the movie that he had just returned from there.
Right, but so I guess that third timeline isn't too far off from the
present day, just several months prior.
Correct, yeah. But there's three timelines, okay?
Right, okay.
My goodness. All right, so after us butchering through this timeline business,
that's what I'm here for, to always make you accountable for what you say.
Everybody else just goes with what I say. You're like, that wasn't the correct timeline.
You're wrong.
So I wanted you on this particular film because
I pay attention to the details.
You definitely do something, man.
I love Sherlock Holmes mysteries. I have to say that this is probably one of the best things that I've ever found a literary interest in, which was the Sherlock Holmes mysteries written. And I have the complete works of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes mysteries. And if I could have ever envisioned an older, more confused generation for Holmes to exist in, this is the movie that would do it perfectly. You don't often get that opportunity to see a character after it's been finished being written about.
Right.
Once the mysteries are over, they're done. But now we've had, the recent movies and the recent BBC TV show, and you've got new mysteries with a newer version, a younger version, but just a different version, especially with Robert Downey Jr. Way different, but at the same time, I'm madly in love with the character in the ways that they've been presented.
I am too.
Pretty much every way. Even the old black and white movie collection that I have of his. Mm-hmm. I still love seeing all of them. I just find Robert Downey Jr. is a little more sexy, that's all. So that said, though, this version, old, feeble, forgetful, and yet still brilliantly attached to the facts. So much so that he can remember to put a dot for every time he's forgotten something, but he can't remember what it was he forgot.
Yeah.
He can so beautifully express the written word when he's writing the story of the last mystery that he didn't solve correctly that sent him into this whirlwind of forgetfulness. That very, very ability to self-doubt can cause so much havoc in a person's psyche.
It's true.
Not just
true.
because you're a 90-something-year-old man or woman, but because you're who you are, period, anywhere in your life. And I thought that undertone of don't sell yourself short. Doubt will cause you to make mistakes. But it's a small, small piece of the picture. The biggest picture, though, is just the ability for the person to create this character, Holmes, as an old man, and yet still watch him bring it all around. It took him a long time, but he still manages to come out with a solution. And that isn't even the best part of the movie.
Can you tell us what the best part is?
The best part of the movie is the relationship he builds with that little boy, the son of his housekeeper and his housekeeper. He is setting an example, and even he forgets that he's doing so. But yeah, you can still see it. Like, you got to always remember, eyes are watching. No matter what.
That's true.
Somebody's watching you and setting you up as the perfect example of something, even when you think you're at your worst.
I forget to realize that, especially when I'm yelling at you at home, like, Sabrina, blah, blah, blah. And Luke's there looking at me like, Daddy, why are you yelling at Mommy?
Mom, look at me. Don't look at Dad.
So I don't know if I missed it or not. Did you like this film?
Yes,
being the
absolutely.
Sherlock Holmes fan
I don't
you
know
are?
if I clearly said it or not, but I do love it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it would be, I hate to put my own opinion into Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, but I think he'd be proud.
I think he would too. I do too.
It's not a highly adventurous version of Sherlock Holmes.
No, it's not.
The man is old, okay, but he does remember some very, slightly younger versions of himself solving this mystery. It was one that he had to solve even without Watson. I mean, this is a post-Watson depiction of his ability to do what he did. And they even make reference to, do the thing you do, where you just stand in front of somebody and you tell them what they were doing and where they were and all that kind of stuff. And, I mean, that's just one of the things that he's so famous for. And in my heart, I wish the man was real.
So, acting performances. Sir Ian McKellen plays Sherlock Holmes in this film. What did you think?
I think it was flawless.
Yeah. Not only did I thought he did a good job of playing Sherlock Holmes, I thought he did a great job of playing a man in his 90s who was going through dementia or forgetfulness or whatever.
That simple look of, I don't know where I'm at. I don't know what I was saying. I don't know who you are. Yeah. And it was fleeting, but it was so perfectly envisioned on his face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect.
Laura Linney, who's, I think, a very, very underrated actress. What were your thoughts on her being the housekeeper?
Well, I don't know who she is, and I didn't recognize her from anything
well, never
particular,
mind,
but I guess that's good because she didn't stand out as being somebody else. I hate it when I can't get past a previous character to enjoy them as the character that they are. So to me, that's who she was.
Okay.
And the little boy, the same thing. I thought he was brilliant.
Yeah.
He was a little irritating at times, as a young boy should be, but then
He treated his mom like dirt, man. I wanted to
smack him around a little bit.
I don't want to say that on the air, but yeah.
He's a TV character. You can say that.
Okay, cool.
But no, Sherlock does exactly what Sherlock should do.
Yeah. Not
what maybe others would expect him to do in that situation. But I think it was a great scene, especially I know which one you're talking about. And he is, like I said, an old soul in a young body, and a boy who had to be a man of the house.
I can't find it offhand, but I think this movie is rated PG-13 at the highest. I don't remember any swearing or anything or violence or anything like that. With that being said, who's gonna like this film?
Anyone who likes Sherlock Holmes.
Okay.
Anyone who likes period pieces like that. I guess quite honestly, if you like Downton Abbey, you're gonna like this.
Yeah. Okay. I would agree with that.
I think that's a pretty safe assumption.
All right. Good job, Sabrina. We'll be back, and we're going to review the new Peanuts film. That's next on Today's Talk, 930 KWOC.